Hey y'all, it's me, Gia Peppers, award-winning journalist and host of More Than That. We've taken our sonic journey from radio to TV, raising awareness about the issues that impact our communities to create solutions for the future. Welcome to a new journey of More Than That. Today, I'm in Atlanta, the city that birthed groundbreaking leaders in civil rights, entertainment, business, and everything in between. But even in a city as successful as this, there's still a problem, and it's one that plagues many cultural hubs across the country: food insecurity. With hundreds of families living in food deserts, our communities can often be miles away from anything healthy to eat. And though Atlanta leaders are taking steps to fix this issue, I wanted to explore the root of this problem to gain an understanding of how we even got here. Come with me as I talk to two extraordinary women who are doing the work to eliminate food waste and end hunger one meal at a time. Atlanta often represents Black prosperity and culture, but in the state of Georgia, there are still over 1.2 million people of all races who struggle with hunger, including more than 335,000 children. So to explore how we got here, I went to speak with Jamila Norman, owner of Patchwork City Farms, about Black farming and food access. I'm here right now at Patchwork City Farms with Jamila Norman. Thank you so much for having us. I am literally in awe of how beautiful this farm is.
Thank you.
So how did this all come together? Tell me about your background in farming and what made you want to become a farmer?
Yeah, I'm from New York City,
Yes.
so farming is not immediately in my background, but my family's from the Caribbean, Jamaica and Trinidad.
Yes,
And, Caribbean people are awesome. My mom just always infused with, the stories of like growing up in Jamaica, growing all their own food. They lived up in the mountains, small town.
Yeah.
And I always thought I would have a farm when I retired.
Wow.
It happened much earlier because raising my family here in Southwest Atlanta, just food options were horrible.
Yeah.
It was nothing but corner stores, liquor stores, and I grew up eating healthy. And so this was like, I'm going to start a small community garden. And I started with some other people, and it just became this thing that I did all the time.
I love that.
And I just kind of never looked back.
And how much land are we sitting on right now?
Yeah, so we're sitting on 1.2 acres, and then I expanded to a lot that's actually adjacent to me. And so collectively, an acre and a half.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
An acre and a half.
An acre and a half.
And all that you can create in the midst of your own city, I think is incredible. In season 1 of our podcast and radio show, we talked about urban farming, and we actually interviewed this incredible woman named Samantha Fox from Mother's Finest Urban Farms in North Carolina. I love it. Shout out to the Black farmers. And she talks about how important it was to ground yourself in the land and reconnect with the land, even in the reality that there is so much trauma within this land. So how important is it to reconnect to the land?
It is reclaiming that. It is reclaiming that legacy, that knowledge, that know-how, and I'm in control here. You know what I mean? Like, this is my farm. So all of the negative aspects of our legacy in this country around farming is not the land. The land didn't do it to you. It's not nature. It's not the food. It was the situation. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even after slavery, you still had over 1 million Black farmers that still were like, this is my passion. This is what I wanted to do. And unfortunately, that legacy was attacked even after that, to where we're now maybe 30,000 Black farmers. But you see a rise of people trying to come back to the land. And so it's important.
So we are here in the Callaloo section of your farm. So talk to me about the Callaloo.
Yeah.
Callaloo is clearly so good. The bugs are munching on it and everything. Well, that's how we know it's good. Talk to me about how we take care of the Callaloo and what we're about to do.
Yeah, so Callaloo is one of those greens that grows really well in the summer. It's also known as Caribbean spinach. And so if you're Caribbean, whether you're Jamaican, Trinidadian, whatever, we do Callaloo.
I love Callaloo.
In my travels, I also found that they eat a lot of this in African countries because it's amaranth, and so it's a green that's been cultivated for a really long time, highly nutritious, and this is maybe a month and a half, and it will keep growing. So we just put that basket down. Let me show you how to harvest.
Show me how to do it.
Yeah, and so we don't spray. I don't spray anything, so you will see like some bug bites, but that is just fine.
That's all right. So you know it's good.
Yep. And I just like cut it here. And you eat the whole thing because the stalk is like super tender. So we just do like big bunches of it because it cooks down like spinach.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So here, let me give you.
Okay, here we go.
And this variety has a little bit of pink. It'll come in like deep red.
Oh yes, I see the red variety up there.
Yeah, you want to cut
beautiful.
This one?
Yes. Okay, so show me where.
Just cut
right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, here I go.
Yeah. So like, it's really pretty, extremely nutritious, and just like culturally, that's Jamaica. That's Jamaica, Trinidad.
And
it
comes from Africa.
It comes from Africa.
So
originally, absolutely.
We took it with us.
Delicious.
Why is urban farming so critical to making sure that we do have healthy foods in our neighborhoods?
Yeah, I think for me, urban farming is critical because it shows people what it looks like, how your food is grown, that engagement, that interaction, and then you're there in the community where people need it. And so your food is fresher, it's more nutritious. I operate my farm very sustainably, so all organically grown, everything like that. And then I also have a nonprofit that I partnered with here in the neighborhood, and I donate produce to like 30 families, mainly seniors in this community, because this community is a lot of seniors. And the sad thing is, you find that seniors are one of the most food insecure people in our communities.
So I love that you have that. And in fact, we are going to visit some elders later, which I think is so dope. So shout out to our elders. When we think of how everybody still needs to eat fresh food in order to show up as who they need to be. It helps to have a Black farmer cultivating the land. Like, I'm just thankful that you exist. I'm thankful that you and the 30,000 Black farmers exist. And I'm thankful for the thousands who are coming back to this work. I love it. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
I'm honored. From farms to neighborhoods, Jamila provides food that helps communities eat for days. But with limited access to grocery stores, residents often still struggle to make a meal last. Jasmine Crowe-Houston, founder of the sustainable food waste company Goodr, is doing something about it. She's made it her mission to solve hunger not just in Atlanta, but across the globe. So we spoke about how her company is changing the game. I am here with Jasmine, the founder of Goodr, the CEO of Goodr, the leader that is changing our food deserts and making sure that our community is fed here in Atlanta and beyond. But we're going to talk to Jasmine a little bit today about why we're here. This is such a special day. Just for the people who might not know, what did you see in the community that led you to tackle hunger head on?
You know, I have been feeding people that have been experiencing food insecurity since 2013, so for over a decade now. And my background has really been in celebrity philanthropy. So I would help a lot of artists and entertainers start their nonprofits. And I found that I was really busy around back to school, Christmas, Thanksgiving. And I remember one year I said to one of my clients, you know, the people that are standing in line for a turkey in November are hungry in September as well. Like, it's not just like one day a year. And I just saw hundreds of people that were homeless. And I thought to myself, I should be the change I'm always talking about. So I created a restaurant series called Sunday Soul. And I just started cooking and feeding for people. And a video of that went viral. And people were saying who donated the food. And the truth was nobody. I was couponing, price matching, you know, figuring out all the ways to feed people. And Googling, I learned about food waste and was just blown away with how much perfectly good food goes to waste while so many people go hungry. And that was really kind of what birthed Goodr.
Like many cities that have the same makeup, there's still a lot of people that live in food deserts. For anyone in our audience who might not know what a food desert is, can you explain what a food desert is and then how Goodr combats the reality of food deserts?
So a food desert is when someone is not living in a near proximity to fresh and healthy foods. So when we talk about produce, when we talk about getting fresh meats and fresh vegetables, those things are very foreign to thousands and thousands of families in every single city that you could go to. So we try and go directly into food deserts and bring our mobile grocery store so that we kind of eliminate that. One of the biggest things we've always said at Goodr is that hunger isn't an issue, it's scarcity. It's a matter of logistics. And so it really is about going right where there is a need.
You talked a little bit about Googling how food waste is such a huge part of our society, unfortunately. What was the most surprising fact that you found that a lot of people might not even realize?
I don't think people realize how much food goes to waste. So in this country, we waste 40% of all the food that we prepare. And that's a lot of food. I mean, it's about 72 billion pounds, and that's billion with the B. So a lot of perfectly good food goes to waste while people go hungry. And so that is what I learned, which just blew me away and actually really made me upset.
What are some ways that we can little by little make sure that we're not contributing to the 40% of food that is wasted?
I think the biggest thing is to realize that first, we are a problem. So the average family is wasting about 1,600 pounds of food a year. That sounds like a lot, because it really is.
That's helpful tips. I'm over here. I wish I had a notebook, because that's really helpful. Now, we are here. The Goodr Mobile Grocery Store is right behind us. Tell us a little bit about what we're doing today in the community and where we are.
Yes, so we are in Southwest Atlanta. This is where I actually first lived when I first moved to Atlanta, so it's really important to me. Big Bethel Village, I used to feed in this senior home in 2015, so I would cook meals and deliver them to the seniors, so I got to know a lot of them. So this is a really personal place to me, and I brought them the mobile grocery store first because it meant a lot to me. They were the inspiration on why our mobile grocery store has a wheelchair lift, because I realized that so many seniors are experiencing food insecurity, and it's just something that people don't talk about. When then they get to be 75 and they're so forgotten about. A lot of seniors are getting anywhere from $11 to $100 a month in food stamps because it's based on their income, and they're just not in their household size, right? So it's based on income and household size, but no one's going to be able to go into any grocery store in this country with $16 and feed themselves for a month. So a lot of them love when we come out and we just bring it out and we tell them, hey, we're going to be here on this day from this time. And they were here about an hour earlier before we were supposed to start. Okay, they were like, we are not missing this. We were supposed to start at 1. I pulled up at 11 something. They were already out here. So they are not missing it. So they get to come on and go shopping for free.
Take me through the experience of what is actually happening inside. How is it set up?
Yeah.
What's the vibe in the Goodr Mobile Grocery?
So it's like a little, if you think of everything that's in your grocery store and then try and put it on 2 aisles. That's kind of the best way I could describe it. So if you're going down one aisle on the grocery store and there's something to your right, something to your left, that's what we've kind of done and condensed it. So we have a freezer section, we have a refrigerated section, and then of course a lot of produce. So lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, and we constantly switch it up. Whatever's in season is what we're putting on the bus.
Logistically, for people who might want to know, how does Goodr work? What is the infrastructure of giving back and making sure that hunger is ending?
So we have a different model. We are a B Corp. So I think other B Corps, I always tell people, are like Ben and Jerry's, Warby Parker. So we exist for the benefit of the public, but also the planet. So on one side, we're all about reducing food waste. And in that realm, we operate almost as a waste management company, right? Because somebody's always being paid to throw food away. We operate as a waste diversion company, right? Businesses pay us to take this food and not get it in landfill, instead to get it to people in need. And if it's not good food, then we'll recycle it, we'll compost it, we'll do something like that. On the hunger side, we work with a lot of sponsors, and we say, how many families can we feed together? Let's come up with a budget. And we have been fortunate to have a lot of sponsors, like everybody from Kroger's been a sponsor. We've been able to work with different celebrities. Just yesterday, we were working with Little Baby. So we work with everybody to feed people in a dignified way.
Shout out to Kroger, because they are the reason why we were able to get this bus here at the Big Bethel Senior Village for nothing, no cost to anyone here.
Yeah.
So thank you to Kroger for making sure that the seniors here feel fed. And like you said, some of our most vulnerable in our community, and they need our respect and support and love and food. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for your work. Thank you so much for making sure Goodr is still here. Y'all make sure you support Goodr. We're gonna get to the Goodr Mobile Grocery Store. I'm gonna take y'all inside. The fight to feed the community is a lifelong commitment, and these women work extremely hard to take care of thousands of Atlanta residents. So today, I'm feeding them as we chat about ways to create a healthy and sustainable future. Okay, ladies, so Jamila, we were on the farm all morning. And then Jasmine, we went to Goodr and we made the Goodr mobile experience at Big Bethel, everything. So I just wanted us to come together and have a beautiful conversation. Y'all feed so many of us in our community. We gonna feed y'all today. We have a special meal prepared by Chef Zaza of Zaza's Kitchen. And it's inspired by some of the things that we were picking today. It's got our basils, our tomatoes, some good salmon in here. So I'm ready to dig in. We are in Atlanta, the grounding place of many of the major civil rights leaders, the birthplace. You know, we know Dr. King went to Morehouse. We know John Lewis is from like one of the sons and greatest leaders ever. And when we think about the rich historical background of Atlanta, we know that civil rights is one of the major things that came out of this beautiful place. How can we start looking at food insecurity as a civil rights issue?
It should be a fundamental human right. Like it should just be a human right. And so many people don't have access to it. I mean, even today I was telling you about how many seniors we get emails from that are telling us they're getting $11, $16 a month in food stamps. I'm just kind of like, what can you buy? So I really see myself as a civil rights activist fighting for hunger and fighting for the fact that 1 in 6 children go hungry in America. For Black and brown children, it's 1 in 3.
That's such a sad reality. Like, whew, that stat makes me upset.
Yeah, it is sad. And I mean, you know, like you said, again, food is a human right. You know what I mean? And it really is important for our government and our, you know, society to understand that and make sure, like you shouldn't be going hungry. You shouldn't be going hungry. You shouldn't be a full-time working adult and still not be able to put food on your plate. So part of the challenge that I've had as a farmer is, you know, my farm is a business enterprise and, you know, I still have to put food on my plate. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's been a challenge trying to figure out how to sort of try to close that gap on affordability for community members, but also still be able to feed my family. And so it really takes public policy. You know what I mean? It takes partnerships with nonprofits and other organizations that have come in and supported the work that we do so that they help to close that gap.
Kroger is all about zero hunger, zero waste, as we know. And when we think on a global scale, how do we work to make sure there is a better pipeline for sustainability when it comes to ending food hunger?
I think, you know, still a lot is rooted in education. I think a lot of people don't understand how much food goes to waste. I do think that businesses play a big part, you know, on what could go to people. In France, businesses are actually fined up to 10,000 euro a day for every occurrence they waste food and it doesn't go to a nonprofit. So
that's amazing.
You're right. Yeah, we got that kind of policy. Like, do I want to spend 10,000 euro or do I want to feed people?
If policy changes, then it kind of like behavior changes. And so I'm always like, get involved in government, get involved in policy. We have to see it as a human right.
Yes.
Like everybody needs to understand that, like, we should not be going hungry in this country that is so rich.
That's what I was going to say. It's why like conversations like this matter and movements like what you all are a part of, what you're building, what you're sharing really, really matters. In a perfect world, in 5 years, what would be in place for a better future for food access across the nation?
I want to see a lot more community around farms like really being part of sort of like the lived environment of where people are. Ability for them to access. So we need better transportation. People need better wages so they can actually afford good food.
I get so scary when I hear a perfect world because I think for me, a perfect world, I would love for nobody to be hungry. Like, in 5 years, I don't know if we'll be there yet, but I do think if we can have more of our mobile grocery stores, our in-school grocery stores, our in-senior home grocery stores operating, we can see a huge dent in food insecurity. I think those are some of the things I like to see in a perfect world.
Yeah. We are all, striving to work towards a more perfect union, right? Like that's the work that we all do. That's why I use my platform. That's why you show up to the farm every day. That's why you show up to Goodr every day. And that's why you created it. And so I know perfect is far, but I do hope that better is near and closer than ever. What's dope is that we get to spark people's dialogue and understanding of what the reality is, and that if they, first of all, shouldn't be ashamed if they're in the situation, but that there's also people that are worried and working to make sure that hunger no longer exists in this country. We got a long way to go, but with y'all, we have a lot of hope. So thank you guys so much for being here. Of course. I'm so grateful for women like Jasmine and Jamila who do the necessary work to feed our communities and spread information about food insecurities far and wide. We've got a long way to go, but together we can weaken the grip that hunger has on our nation. Whether you start a local farm in your neighborhood or support organizations who are committed to feeding us, we all have a role to play so that one day our children, elders, and everyone in between experience a world free of hunger. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, we're back with our final TV episode of the season, and I'll see you in the next city.